Most people think success comes from motivation. They believe that people who achieve great things wake up every day feeling inspired, focused, and confident. But that is not reality. The truth is, most successful people spend a huge part of their lives doing things they do not feel like doing. They work while tired. They stay consistent while bored. They continue while doubting themselves. And they keep moving even when results are invisible. That is the difference. Not talent. Not luck. Not perfect timing. The ability to keep grinding when emotions stop supporting you. Because motivation is temporary. Feelings change every day. Some mornings you feel unstoppable. Other mornings you feel mentally exhausted for no clear reason. If your entire life depends on how motivated you feel, your progress will always be unstable. And that is exactly why so many people stay stuck. They only move when they feel inspired. They only work when it feels exciting. They only chase goals when progress feels fast. But growth does not work like that. Real growth is repetitive, quiet, slow, sometimes frustrating. And most people cannot handle that reality for very long. Modern life made this even worse. Everything around you is training your brain to expect quick rewards. Fast entertainment, fast dopamine, fast validation, fast attention. You scroll for seconds and your brain gets stimulated instantly. You open apps and receive endless distraction immediately. Your mind slowly becomes addicted to convenience. And once the brain becomes too comfortable with easy stimulation, difficult work starts feeling unbearable. That is why focusing feels harder now. That is why consistency feels exhausting. That is why people quit goals so quickly. Not because they are incapable. Because their mind has been conditioned to avoid discomfort. But the uncomfortable things are usually the things that change your life. Discipline is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. Improvement is uncomfortable. Self-control is uncomfortable. Yet those are the exact things that build confidence, strength, and long-term success. A weak mindset always searches for comfort first. A strong mindset understands that temporary discomfort creates future freedom. And this is where most people lose the battle. They want the reward without the process, the confidence without the work, the results without the repetition. But life does not operate that way. Every meaningful achievement demands consistency long before it gives visible results. That is why grinding matters. Not because working endlessly is healthy. Not because burnout is impressive. But because staying committed through difficult periods builds mental endurance that most people never develop. And mental endurance changes everything. Because life will test you constantly. There will be days where nothing seems to work. Days where progress feels invisible. Days where you question yourself. Days where you feel behind everyone else. And during those moments, your mindset matters more than your emotions. Most people quit during the invisible phase. The phase where effort exists but results do not. That is the dangerous stage. Because the human brain naturally wants evidence that hard work is paying off. When the brain cannot see immediate reward, it starts creating doubt. Maybe this is pointless. Maybe I am wasting time. Maybe I should stop. And slowly, people abandon goals that could have changed their entire future. Not because they failed. Because they stopped too early. The reality is, consistency often looks useless before it looks powerful. Think about how habits work. One workout changes nothing. One productive day changes nothing. One focused study session changes nothing. But repeated over months? Repeated over years? That becomes transformation. The problem is that most people underestimate the power of small repeated actions. They think success comes from huge dramatic moments. Usually it does not. It comes from ordinary actions repeated consistently while nobody is watching. And that is why grinding in silence is so important. Because real improvement is often invisible in the beginning. Confidence grows quietly. Discipline grows quietly. Mental toughness grows quietly. At first, nothing outside changes. But internally, you are becoming stronger. And eventually the external results start catching up. This is also why comparison destroys so many people. People compare their beginning to someone else's middle. They compare their private struggles to someone else's public highlights. Social media made this worse. You constantly see people showing achievements, lifestyles, success, attention, validation. But what you rarely see is the repetition behind it, the loneliness behind it, the discipline behind it, the failures behind it. And because of that, people start feeling late in life even when they are still young. They panic, they rush, they lose focus. But success built from pressure and comparison usually collapses quickly. Real growth requires patience. Not passive patience, active patience. The ability to keep improving without needing immediate applause. That mindset is rare now. Because many people are addicted to being seen instead of being improved. They announce goals instead of building habits. They seek validation instead of discipline. They want recognition before results. But attention cannot replace self-respect. Deep confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. When you say you will improve and actually do it, your mind begins trusting you. That trust becomes confidence. Not fake confidence. Not loud confidence. Real confidence. The kind that does not need constant approval. And this is important because grinding is not only physical. It is mental. Some people are physically tired. Others are mentally defeated. And mental exhaustion is dangerous because it slowly convinces people to lower their standards. To settle. To stop trying. To accept mediocrity. That is why protecting your mindset matters so much. Your environment matters. Your habits matter. Your daily routine matters. Because the brain adapts to whatever you repeatedly expose it to. If you constantly feed your mind distraction, negativity, and excuses, your mindset weakens. If you repeatedly train focus, discipline, and self-control, your mindset strengthens. Your brain is always learning from your behavior. That is simple psychology. The mind repeats what feels rewarding. If you reward procrastination with comfort, your brain will repeat procrastination. If you reward discipline with pride and progress, your brain slowly starts valuing discipline more. This is why small habits matter more than people realize. You do not suddenly become mentally strong one day. You build mental strength through repeated decisions. Getting up when you want to stay lazy. Working when you feel distracted. Continuing when progress feels slow. Every small disciplined action sends a message to your brain. I do not quit when things become uncomfortable. And over time, that identity becomes powerful. One of the biggest lies people believe is this: I will start when I feel ready. But most people never feel fully ready. Confidence usually comes after action, not before it. Waiting for perfect motivation is one of the fastest ways to waste years of your life. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates belief. Belief creates consistency. That is why keeping momentum matters so much. Even small progress matters. A single productive hour matters. A small improvement matters. One better decision matters. Because progress is not about perfection. It is about direction. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is continue without dramatic results. Continue learning. Continue building. Continue improving. Quietly. Patiently. Consistently. Because eventually the effort compounds. Most people underestimate compound growth. Just like negative habits slowly destroy lives, positive habits slowly rebuild them. 1 hour wasted daily becomes years lost. 1 hour invested daily becomes transformation. The scary part is that small decisions rarely feel important in the moment. But repeated daily, they shape your future. That is the reality most people ignore. Your future is being built by your repeated behaviors, not your occasional motivation. And this is the truth section nobody likes hearing. Most people do not fail because life stopped them. They fail because they stopped themselves. They let comfort control them. They let excuses become identity. They let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. And eventually they convince themselves that average effort should create extraordinary results. But life rewards consistency far more than intensity. Anybody can feel motivated for 2 days. Very few people remain committed for years. That is why discipline changes lives. Discipline keeps moving when excitement disappears. And the people who master that ability separate themselves from the majority. Not overnight. Not instantly. Gradually. That is how real growth happens. Slowly at first. Then suddenly people call you successful. But they never saw the silent years. The lonely work. The repeated effort. The sacrifices nobody applauded. That is why you cannot depend on external validation to keep going. Sometimes nobody will notice your progress except you. Keep going anyway. Sometimes results will come slower than expected. Keep going anyway. Sometimes your mind will doubt the process. Keep going anyway. Because the version of you that you want to become is built during those difficult moments. Not during comfort. Not during easy periods. During resistance. So if you truly want to change your life, stop searching for constant motivation. Build routines. Protect your focus. Reduce distractions. Improve slowly. Stay patient with yourself. Learn emotional control. Keep promises to yourself. And most importantly, keep grinding even when nobody is watching. Because one day the discipline you practiced in silence will become the strength people admire publicly. And by then you will understand something powerful. Success was never about feeling motivated all the time. It was about refusing to stop. If this message connected with you, take a moment and ask yourself, What is one habit, excuse, or distraction that is holding you back the most right now? Reflect on it honestly. Work on it consistently. And keep building yourself one day at a time.